Good morning around the diamond. First episode of Around the Diamond. It is Grand Slam Sam and Baseball Bill here, coming to you live this Saturday morning, talking some crazy baseball this week. We got some pretty interesting topics we're excited to talk about. Let's jump right into it. Baseball Bill, as always, how are you doing on this fine Saturday morning?
I love Saturdays. I get to talk baseball with my friend Sam. So let's
Yeah,
go around the
love
diamond.
it.
Let's have a good time.
Let's let's do it, my friend. Let's not even waste another second of time. Let's just jump right into it. Bill, why don't you take me through the AL this week? What's been going on in the American League?
You bet. So what's interesting about the AL, obviously the Rangers being ahead in their division is going to be hard to hold to. Okay, that's going to be really hard to hold to. But the Astros kind of slow start, Angels a little slow start. The Twins, it's no surprise there. That division is incredibly weak. What surprises me in that division is the White Sox are 7-20 and they have a 9-game losing streak. That shocks the heck out of me because
Mm-hmm.
with Dylan Cease on that team and with some of the firepower that they have on that team, being 7-20 is insane. And I'm talking to White Sox fans, and they're telling me like it's even hard to watch in April. Like some of them are already giving up on the season. I was like, well, it's early. The Rays still on fire, 22-5. Arson Judge got hurt this week, so it might be a little rough for the Yankees over the next week or two, but we'll see how it plays out. Your
Hey, now,
your thoughts on the AL?
looking at the AL, there are some things that are shocking to me. And something, look, I'm happy to see that the Yankees are not the talk of the town as they've been the last couple of years, rocking in the AL East. I'm happy to see that the Central is kind of mixing it up a little bit. I agree. The White Sox being 7-20 is just it's hard for White Sox fans to have to take on and consider. Um, but White Sox fans possibly maybe now needing to look at unloading some guys to bring in some youth. Maybe it's time to revamp. Maybe it's time to see what else is out there. Who knows? But it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next month or so with that team still there by the All-Star break. Looking at the AL West real quick, I'm just happy it's not the Astros leading. I feel like every year for the last 5 years, all I see is Astros number one, Astros number one. So it's nice to see a different team at the top. But again, this will balance out, especially after last night. DeGrom did get hurt, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that injury. But more to come on that. Nothing's been released, nothing's been dropped, so we'll stay tuned on it. But yeah, let's not even waste any more time. Let's just jump right into the NL. Braves still holding strong on the lead on that, rocking 8 and 9. Mets not too far behind. And the Nationals are, right there on the bottom. Going over to the Central, the Pirates. We got to talk about this Pirates team, and we're going to talk more about it a little bit later into the session, but they are not leaving April on a very big high. And it's going to be nice to see that. As a Pirates fan, you guys must be ecstatic to see you guys lead the division. I think the most shocking thing for this is that the Cardinals right now are 10-17, the bottom of the division in the NL Central. It's crazy to see that. I never thought I'd see it, especially having two prime all-stars on their corners in the infield. Going over to the West, Bills and my bread and butter over here. The Diamondbacks in our division with a rousing 15-2 record, a 15-12 record. However, it is pretty close between first and fourth. I mean, everyone is within 3 games. No one is out of it yet. It's really early to see. So I'm excited for this National League. Bill, thoughts?
Yeah, so you nailed it already. It's not surprising what the Nationals are doing or the Rockies are doing. It is surprising what the Cardinals are doing. Here's your shocker. I actually think the Cubs could pull this division out in the Central, although the Brewers look really good. And the Pirates look like they're a playoff team. So, period, they look like they're a playoff team. When you go into the West, it's good when the Dodgers and Giants are good, right? It's good for baseball, but it's also good for baseball when you throw the Padres in there because they have every talent in the world on their team. I will say this, I am a Giants fan over the next couple of days down in Mexico City because the Dodgers are everybody on the Dodgers right now are on paternity leave. These boys need to understand that the All-Star break is not time to get frisky. You're supposed to get frisky right before spring training, so all the babies are born in November and December, not in freaking April, right? We have either paternity leave guys. We had 4 guys on paternity leave this last week. 4 guys. Like, what the heck? So, anyways, I would love for you guys to sweep the Padres just to give us a little bit of breathing room and give yourselves a little bit of extra. But Dodgers, Padres, Giants, that's where you're going to be at. The Diamondbacks will drop down. So yeah, but if you're listening to this, if you are a baseball player, I would like you to go to your wife right before spring training and say, hey, how you doing? Not say, how you doing? At the All-Star break. Okay? Let's not pull Joey Tribbiani at the All-Star break. Let's do it at the beginning of the season. Can we just do that, please? Please? My
Hey,
word.
look, Bill, I get it, but also think about it this way. Would you rather these guys being on paternity leave now or in mid to late August when you're in the fight for a division?
Is there a C, none of the above option? I like them. I like the fact that they know that they have 3.5.
Yes, it's what's on.
Yeah, they have 3.5 months off all year, like full straight. None of us have that in our jobs. Come on, boys, plan this stuff out. Giddy up.
Let's move over to some of these stats because these stats are still pretty insane. And I can't wait till we get to our steal leaders and home run leaders because I am just dumbfounded by where we're at. But look at these batting leaders and these are some pretty high numbers for where we're at in the season.
Yeah.
You know, Miami, Toronto, Atlanta leading, you know, with 3 prime guys, Luis Arias, Matt Chapman, and Ronald Acuna. And then you got 2 Philly boys rocking out the bottom of that top 5. You know, Philly is starting to make some waves again. They're starting to pick their game up. And I think Bryce Harper coming back is really starting to put a fire under these guys because they don't want Bryce to come back and then, you know, him get into RBI leaders, though. I mean, it's nice to see guys like, you know, Alonso keeping his RBI numbers high, Jordan Alvarez keeping his numbers high, and Devers, who's really the stone of that corner team in Boston, you know, rocking 24 RBI. So it's nice to see it. Bill, what about these pitching stats, though? You always have good insight on the pitchers. What do you think about some of these, you know, strikeout leaders and the pitching leaders?
So Garrett Cole is playing amazing. He's pitching amazing right now. It's not just the fact that he's getting run support. Um, I mean, look at his ERA. His ERA is insane. Joe Ryan, Shane McClanahan, Zach Gallen is having a career year, and so is Kyle Gibson. And we're going to talk about Baltimore here in a second. But those numbers are awesome. But look at these strikeout leaders here. All of these people here on this list have a chance to close out next month with close to or 100 strikeouts already.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Zach Gallen could close out the month of May with over 100 strikeouts. I mean, that's insane. That's insane of what those numbers that he's putting up. So it's
This early.
yeah, it's early. Lopez is throwing well. I heard him on the MLB Network the other day. Jacob deGrom is finally injured again, which is, par for the course for Jacob deGrom. Thank you, Texas, for signing him and getting such a big contract for him. Shohei's going to do Shohei. Spencer Stash Strider. He's not only does he have the best mustache in the entire league, but he's pretty awesome when it comes to pitching too. So these are good numbers. Also notice though that the people that are on this leaderboard are teams that are competing for spots. Like even though Boston is 1 game under 500 right now and they're in last place, I don't think they stay there. But that division is also incredibly, incredibly tight. So we'll see.
Yeah. The only other thing I really want to just highlight from that is if you look at the pitching leaders list, the strikeout leaders list, there's only one guy that moves from the pitching leaders over to the strikeout leaders. There's only one guy. There's only
Right. Right.
and Zach Allen's it. Is while he's got a 2.15 ERA right now, he is lighting it up. Be cautious of that for all of you guys in the NOS, including us Giants and you Dodger fans. I mean, right now, Gallen's the guy we don't want to go against. But as I said, it's going to be really interesting to see some of these next two sets. So let's take a quick look at the stolen base leader count. We are at 557 total stolen bases this calendar year so far. 1 month into the season, and we are legitimately at 560 stolen bases. What is happening with stolen bases this year?
Guys know the rules. They're just timing it. They're timing that pitch clock. They're watching things and teams, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but teams are understanding that you can't hit the 5-run home run every time and win. Look at the names that are on this list. You have two teams that arguably are not going to compete. Oakland's not going to compete this year for a playoff spot. Miami could, although that division's tough with the Phillies, the Braves, and the Mets, so it might not be their year. But then again, you got Ronald Acuna on there. You got Pittsburgh guy on there. You got an Arizona guy on there. And Carroll, watch Carroll this season. Man, this guy can play the game, Sammy. If you're watching this guy, he is fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. But, still, like I said, these numbers are just insane to watch. And not only right now, we are on track we are averaging 140 steals a week this season. So I can't wait to see where we're at the end of the season, because these numbers are just going to blow our minds with what the average is. But if you think the stolen bases are crazy, let's take a look at these home runs. Got to give Max Muncy his due, leading baseball with 11 home runs right now. What I think is shocking is that last year's home run leader isn't even close to making this list right now. And now that he's injured, he's going to even move farther and farther. He's for paying him $360 million. But 883 home runs, literally a 220 home run increase from last week. We are averaging 220 home runs a week throughout baseball. So, I mean, Bill, do you think, what are the chances we're going to end up maybe over 3,000 home runs, maybe even 4,000 home runs before the end of the season?
Very good. Very good. Very good. I think that there's a very good possibility for that. And to be honest with you, some of these names surprise me. Some of them don't. Patrick Wisdom is having a career year. If you watch this guy, he's having a career year. Max Muncy, now that you don't have the shift on and you don't have the right field rover, he's figuring out how to hit. Pete, I can't find a jersey that fits me, Alonzo. Or we should call it LLPA. Ladies love Pete Alonso, right? And so shout out to LL Cool J.
Mets fans, though. I think we're only talking Mets fans love Pete Alonso.
You'd be surprised at how many females I've interviewed that say that he's their favorite player. They're not even Mets fans.
Well, right now, if we were to stay on this trajectory, we would have 5,700 home runs in baseball.
Yeah. So
57 home runs in baseball.
But I mean, and your argument is a good one, Sam. Your argument is a good one that we, when we get to the injury report, hey, we got to pay attention to the pitchers. But wait a second, we got guys that are having career years as strikeout leaders, and you're also having a bunch of home runs hit, and you're having a bunch of stolen bases. So MLB's kind of hitting all three cylinders, right?
Yeah, basically. So, I mean, it is crazy. But speaking of injury report, let's keep this going because we got two topics we really want to touch on today. Looking at this injury report, though, again, this takes me back to what happened last week. Pitchers are going out, and they are going out quick. Looking at this injury report, I'm going to take it from the bottom up this
Mhm.
week season. Huge loss for the Mariners. Also, Chris Bubik out for the season with an elbow injury. You got Garrett Mitchell, who's expected to be out for the majority of the season with a shoulder injury, and then you got Yu Chang with the Red Sox out until mid-June with a wrist injury. I mean, just the two pitchers on the bottom of this list are huge losses for these two teams. But I mean, Bill, you brought up one earlier before we got on that I think might even be more interesting than the pitchers. Bill, why don't
Yeah.
you take us through the top half of this list?
Yeah. So Choi being out till July, but the Pirates are putting it together. Obviously, Spring's out for the season. That hurts the Diamondbacks, but they're playing well. Let's talk this one that's number 3 right here, Logan O'Hoppe. This kid is a superstar in the making. His freshman year in Major League Baseball, potential all-star. I mean, he was playing very well, and I've watched him quite a bit, being here local in Southern California. This kid can play, but I also watched him pop out his shoulder in Boston, and it looked like they popped it back in. Then I watched him pop out his shoulder again in the Bronx, and yeah, he's out. And that's a huge blow to the Angels because their he was kind of their next big star behind the plate, hoping that they would get a bunch of years out of him. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
bad news.
I think injuries are going to really start playing more and more into the game, especially with these new rules. So it'll be very interesting to see how MLB and the Players Association counter all the number of injuries that have been coming up. But there have been two teams that have really, I think, taken baseball by shock so far this year. And
Amen.
we're gonna take a quick minute or two to talk about these two incredible teams. Are they the real deal? New segment, we're talking and the Pirates. We got an AL and we got an NL. Bill, talk to me about the Pirates. Are they the real deal?
We are family. I just realized that this is the 1979 World Series.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
I just realized that. Hey, what do we know? All right. Yeah, the Pirates, are they the real deal? Yes. Do they play in a division that they can win it with 85 wins? Yes. If they were in the National League West or the National League East, even though they've got 18, I think they're 18-8. Eh, I just don't know that it would be sustainable in those divisions. Are they the real deal? Yes. Are they going to make a playoff run? Yeah. Um, do I think it's sustainable through, beating out the Cubs and potentially the Brewers? I don't know yet. It's April, right? And all it's going to take is somebody like Brian Reynolds to go out, or for a significant period of time. That's kind of their team leader, their first $100 million contract that they've offered, and it could change the dynamic. But remember, the Pirates are going to play all teams in baseball this year, so that's going to help them. But they also have 13 games against Milwaukee, against Chicago, against the Reds, and against the Cardinals, who the Cardinals are really having a tough time right now. So I don't know. I think they are. I really do. What do you think?
I think the Pirates are riding this high with McCutchen coming back. Probably McCutchen's in the final couple of years of his career, so he's really living it up. And I think he's bringing that energy right now to Pittsburgh, which is giving them this reignition of, Brian Reynolds coming to an agreement with the Pirates to be there long term and, stay there for the next, I think it was 8 years on $100 million contract, was great. They're solidifying pieces that they need. Do I think they're the real deal? I think if they can make it to the All-Star break with a decent enough lead, or even I'd say a 10 to 12 game over 500 number, which they're on track to do. Yeah, there is no question that they're the real deal. But I also agree that if one or two injuries don't go their way, it could easily flip this division and on its head and put the Pirates and knock them right out of playoff contention. I
Yep.
don't think there's that. That's just my opinion. Going over to the Orioles, though, I think they are without a doubt the realest deal in the AL, in the American League. I think as their key strengths, I think they are young, they are hungry, they are on fire. They have this team reignited. They have the city of Baltimore reignited and have them backing them. And I think that's something that is really playing into their strength right now and allowing them to have this rush and a high of wins and really, you know, taking it to the rest of the division. And I think over the next month, we're going to see them take it to Tampa and kind of start flattening out that big lead that Tampa plays. Bill, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I right now Baltimore is the real deal. They are the team that was sneaky last year. They're sneaky good this year, and in our next conversation we're going to have, it'll explain why. We'll explain a little bit why. They play in the hardest division in baseball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to be tough. It's going to be super tough for them, but
Yeah.
they're the real deal. Now, with both of these teams, Sammy, with both of these teams, they've jumped out to a very good start. The Pirates are leading their division, the Orioles, not so much yet. But here's what they have to do the rest of the season because they started off so hot. You ready? Just win more series than they
I'm
lose.
ready.
Just win more series than they lose. If
I thought that was the name of the game from the beginning, and I wasn't 100% certain, but Bill, you solidified my thoughts and my
Yeah,
words of how you have
well,
to do this.
I
But
mean, if the Padres
to
go 20-10, right? If they go 20-10 the in May, okay, so that makes them 38-18. Good stuff, right? So,
yeah,
anyways, yeah,
it changes the whole game. But to do that, there comes this discussion and this debate. And that leads us into our second segment. Is it the long ball game or is it the small ball game? This is what baseball has now come to. For the longest time, it's been about what's been happening, in my opinion, on the left. When you had the shift in play and you had to really be more finesse with your team and how you're playing, players being able to keep their stamina up. We're moving into more of a long ball game. Bill, what's it going to take for some of these teams to move from worst to first? And what's going to happen with some of these teams that go from first to worst, you know, if they don't play one or the other?
simple. Playing the long ball is never going to get you there. Okay, they're good, they're sexy, chicks dig the long ball type thing, right? The old '90s commercial, but simple. Play small ball, play small ball, play small ball, and this is why teams are becoming more athletic and they're playing small ball. Teams like the Dodgers are not playing small ball and they're getting beat. Teams like the Orioles are playing small ball. The Pirates are playing small ball. They're running on people. The Diamondbacks. Where are the Pirates? Where are the Diamondbacks? Where are the Orioles? They're all either leading their divisions or close to it. They're playing small ball. You play small ball, you win. You don't play small ball, you don't win. Period. That's that. And I'll go to my grave saying that if anybody wants to compete, because I'll tell you right now, the Dodgers have lost 3 games this season, 3 games this season because they can't defend against the small ball and or are not playing it. Okay, so that Dodgers should have 3 more wins and 3 less losses, which would put them in first place. But instead, and 2 of those losses came to Arizona when Arizona beat us in small ball. Just saying, just saying.
Hey, look. You know the Giants better than you know the Giants as a Dodgers fan. Probably second best to your own team because you see that you've seen them play the Giants more than any other team. Probably at this time, the Giants were the definition of a small ball team. I mean, look at their 10, 12, and 14 World Series. They won those series solely on small ball. They won those years solely on playing small ball. So
Preach.
I think long ball is good for will only take you so far. It will only give you so much of a leeway or so much of a lead before you need to start playing small ball. And that, small ball should always be your bread and butter, in my opinion, and long ball should be the prize at the end of a very, very short time. That's just me. But
Yeah.
what do I know? What do I know? They don't pay me enough to make these decisions. They got me sitting in New Jersey. What else am I gonna do? But
Exactly.
this is always going to be a great topic of conversation, and we want to hear what you
Yes.
Around the Diamond fans thinks about that. So give us your comments. I want to read them. I want to hear them. I want to see them in front of my face. So give them
Yeah.
to us, please.
Yeah.
But as we talk about this, it is always great to talk about what is coming next. Our very own baseball Bill. Bill, take me through this Top Fan Rivalry Clubhouse schedule because it is looking jam-packed.
Yeah, so Monday you're going to hear Dell and Joe, they're Orioles fans. They're going to talk about where the Orioles are at. Jackson and Thomas are going to talk about the Braves on Tuesday. Wednesday, Carrie, who's a new clubhouse fan, is going to join the clubhouse. She's an Angels fan. Thursday, we got a surprise guest for you. You'll hear about it shortly. And then on Friday, we got a gentleman who runs a podcast called Deep Fryer Podcast. Who is a huge Padres fan, obviously, and he's going to break down the Padres for us. And look for some more rivalry shows coming up here pretty quick.
I thought Deep Fryer Podcast, you were going to say he's a huge fan of the Milwaukee Brewers. So that threw me for a loop. I appreciate you clarifying that.
Of course.
But as Bill mentioned, there's a lot of rivalry talks coming out. But on top of the rivalry talks, there are 2 watch parties coming in the next 2 weeks. Make sure you are there. First one is going to be next Friday in Anaheim at Noble Ale. If you have the ability to get a free t-shirt just for coming and registering for this watch party. So make sure you get there. Also, there will be a silent auction in effect supporting the locals, I believe. We will see how that goes out. But the next week, the Padres are taking on the Dodgers again, but this time they're in Dodger territory. This one's going to be at Social Tap. It is Friday, May 12th, 7 to 10 at night. Again, free t-shirt if you have locker room access and another silent auction. Go in the local area for both of these. You can get all the details on topfanrivalry.com. Bill, anything else you want to keep us on the lookout for?
Not on those. Just keep a lookout for new podcasts, new merchandise. We got some new merchandise coming up. The watch parties, obviously, in June, we're going to be in Atlanta and in Houston. So that's going to be a lot of fun. If you're listening to this and you're going to baseball games, please remember to let me know so we can go live from the stadium. I'd love for fans to see your interaction at the stadium.
We recommend if you're going to go live, though, bring your AirPods. Bring something that you can
Yes.
hear because all the cheering around you is going to take away from us. Got to say about the stadium. But Bill, any final thoughts for our Around the Diamond fans before we sign off today?
No, not at all. In fact, I think this is a great episode. I hope that you're enjoying what we're doing and the efforts that Sam puts into these slides and both Sam and I's comments. Again, let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you.
Please let us know. Bring us your feedback. And if you want to be a special guest on Around the Diamond, come to myself, come to Baseball Bill. Let us know. We'll reach out. We'll see how it works out. Diamond, to all of you at home, thank you so much for joining us this week. We will see you next week on the field. Have a great rest of your weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.